You're listening to the REITE Club podcast, where the focus is all about helping you grow your real estate investment portfolio and live the life you want to live. Come grow with us and join our community at thereiteclub.com. And now your hosts, Sarah Larby and Alfonso Salemi.
So Rob, really a total shift here. So we heard Natasha talking about conveniences, different areas. So for investors, so the REITE Club, we're all about investments. I guess that's important. You need to know where our convenience is, because if we have guests or people coming over, they're expecting certain things. Are there areas you've noticed that have good possibilities for investments?
The majority of the areas that are close to where we are right now, like I'm sort of right in between, as Natasha mentioned, we're right in between two very touristy towns, Tamarindo being the most notable of them. That's a big surf town if anyone's not familiar with it. And you'll constantly be bombarded by sales in the area while you're walking on the beach. There's people constantly trying to sell you cigars or whistles or hats or whatever it is that they've got, bowls, wooden bowls, all that kind of stuff. And then there's a town very similar to that, about 40 minutes north of us, called Playas Del Coco. And that's where we spent the majority of the time when we came here earlier this year. And there's good opportunity for Airbnbs and stuff like that if you want to get into that kind of investment. There's a lot of opportunity for that there. And then in the area that I'm in here now, I'm more focused on, this is a lot like, it's more played down, it's more relaxed. There is more expats living here, and on the beach you don't get those sales. There's literally none of that going on here, but there's still a great community and lots of amenities close to here as well. So what I'm focusing on, at least what I have been focusing on to start with, is there's a small little area called Surfside, and it's close to the beach. It's not right on the beach. For me, it's like a 3-minute walk away, but you know, as you get back into this area a little more, you can get up to like a 15-minute walk from the beach, but it's all relatively close still. And there's a lot of fix and flip opportunities here of older houses that are in need of an update, right? So there's lift. So that's always what I'm looking for, is potential for lift. A lot of them don't have pools. So the one that we bought, that we're flipping right now, just needs updates throughout. So we gutted the house, and we're adding a pool, which I'm kind of held up on permits for that right now, but it is going in. And there's a lot of opportunity like that as well. So, I mean, across the board, great investments in this area, as far as I'm concerned, whether you want Airbnb or flips, or even just something like this to Airbnb as well, because a lot of the properties in Surfside are Airbnb rentals as well.
Excellent. So thank you very much. Natasha, what would you say, like you've moved around quite a bit, financing. So have you looked at that? Like, do you need to buy cash, or what's the situation there for an investor?
For a Canadian investor who is not a citizen in Costa Rica, we have almost no option for financing. So my husband and I, we actually had to buy our investment property, Kokomo in Uvita, for cash. So there are pluses and there are the pros and cons. Obviously, for buying in cash, the cash flow is through the roof, which is excellent, but we can't refinance that property. So we can't recycle that money the way that we're used to doing in Ontario.
Okay, great. And Rob, what have you experienced for financing? I assume it's very similar, but.
Yeah, it is similar. And that's sort of part of the reason why we played around with keeping this house as an Airbnb, as a rental. But I think we will actually end up selling it, because it was a big cash injection, at least for me anyways. So I can tell a little bit of the numbers for this one. We were able to get a little over 50% vendor take back on ours, which is more common here than it is. I mean, some people are good at finding it in Ontario, but it's pretty uncommon there. But it's a little more common here than it is there. And sellers are used to at least the option of that. Whether they're open to it or not is another thing. But our property was 246 US. We put 120 down, and we have the sellers carrying the loan for 5% interest only for just the 1 year. So we're going to be able to fix it up. We'll live in it for the rest of the year, and then we won't have to pay capital gains on the sale either, as long as we live in it. So it's the same as there. So, you know, we could do a faster flip, but the capital gain here is not bad. It's 15% of the gain, so it's not bad. But we've decided just to do some slow flips while we're here. Slow life down a little bit, because that was the goal. So I might just continue this method and do the 1 year slow flip, live in it. Something I always wanted to do in Canada, but my wife didn't want to do it there. And I guess that might be the plan for here. That's but yes, cool. Financing, you can do private. You can find private money, but it's about 12 or 13%. But you can do it.
Okay, excellent. So yeah, that does give us some options. And like you said, the vendor take back, that does help. By 120,000 US is doable. I mean, for quite a few investors. So that's really interesting. So labor. So I don't know, Natasha, if you're getting into flips or anything like that, or Rob, but labor, how is that? Like, is it easy to get laborers and materials?
I know Rob has some experiences that he'll want to share, but from my perspective, we haven't done a flip here. We just bought a turnkey investment, Kokomo in Uvita, but we are planning to build our home. So our final home is going to be a custom build. And we know that the labor costs here are low. On average, what we've found is that for labor, you can pay somebody $5 US an hour. So wow. I'm sure okay. it's very different, and that applies across the board, not just for builds, but also cleaning and catering and cooking and any kind of help that you need. Any kind of labor is much cheaper than we are used to in Canada. Okay, wow. So I guess this does really help for both of your lifestyles, maintaining a business in Canada and living the Pura Vida lifestyle with a chef and a housekeeper and gardener. So that is really cool. Is that something you've used so far? Like, have you hired more help than you would have in Canada? That's a question for both of you.
I mean, we're getting cleaners, but only because the Airbnb host wants us to have the cleaner come in. I mean, I generally take care of my house, but you know what? To be honest, I don't mind it. It's nice to have that every once in a while. But in regards to just like labor for trades and stuff like that, like Natasha said, she's right. It is, and I was pleasantly surprised that it is a lot cheaper than I was expecting, actually, and anticipating. So my budget, I think, is going to come in where it's supposed to. For example, so the house that we have is about 1,300 square feet, and we are taking all the tile out and replacing all of it. So that's like through the 2 stand-up showers, all through the bathrooms, all through the entire house, and the back patio and the front patio. And the price that we ended up settling on for labor only to take it all out and then install all the new tile is $2,500 US. So I thought that was much better than I was expecting, and I was very happy with that. And in general, all of the rest of the stuff seems to be as well, except for kitchens. My kitchen quotes have not been where I was expecting them to come in. The one I got this morning was $12,407 US. So that's quite a bit more pricey than I was expecting.
Yeah, that's quite a jump. I mean, $2,500 for a lot of tiling. That's hard work to break up and remove. Oh my goodness! And then the kitchen. Are you putting in granite? Like, What's the look?
Yeah, it's like, I mean, and it's more, it's higher quality cabinets, right? Because they got to last in the humidity here. So you don't really have the choice of getting the cheaper stuff here. At least, well, you do, but it's not a good idea.
Okay,
but the other quote I have is $8,500 US. So I'm getting a third, and then obviously I'll decide on one of the lower two and go forward with that one.
Thanks for listening to the REITE Club podcast and joining our community of real estate investors online at thereiteclub.com, where the focus is about helping you grow. We look forward to seeing you again next week. Thanks from your hosts, Sarah Larby and Alfonso Salemi.